I've been analyzing the lives of successful people, and what I have learned is that they all live by the rules. Trevor Noah is a South African comedian, writer and television host. He is now popularly known for hosting a show called The Daily Show, which is based in the States. I would like us to go straight to his top 10 rules that he lives by to succeed in life. Rule number 1.
Yeah, I was watching you with Jerry Seinfeld on the web series Jerry Seinfeld has, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, in which he gets in a very fancy car with someone in comedy and drive around, talk about various things. And he was talking about this crazy schedule that you were keeping at one time, going back and forth between, I want to say, London?
Yeah, London and New York.
And New York. And he said, where do you think that work ethic comes from? And you said, being poor.
Yes.
And he cracked up laughing. And I thought, it's funny, but at the same time, I wondered if it was weird to be with a guy like that in a car like that, trying to have a conversation about how being poor affects the way that you look at the world.
No, not at all. That's one of the greatest things I think I was blessed with is, well, two things really. My mom and growing up in the era of Nelson Mandela. Two people that taught me that you do not need, or you shouldn't let the anger around what has happened to you consume you. It doesn't mean you should forget what has happened to you. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try and fix it or correct the errors of the past, but the anger itself will consume you, So if I get angry that I grew up poor and Jerry didn't, I mean, that's not his fault. It's not, you get what I'm saying? This is not, I find that as people, we tend to live in a place where you can get angry, and that anger then consumes you, and you go, I hate rich people. And it's like, why do you hate them? Because they don't know what it's like to be poor. And it's like, but that's not their fault, So you get to a place where you go, oh, it's not angry. This is what shaped me. This is what molded me. I'm blessed enough to be in the place that I am now. I know what it is like to be very, very, very poor. So I don't see it as coming from an angry place. So I get to laugh about these things because I don't think being poor is funny, but there's nothing funny about most things in the world. But even when we were poor as a family, we were able to laugh. So that's one thread that I have that goes through life is laughter, and that's the thing that connects most people.
Rule number 2.
I'm blessed enough to be in the place that I am now. I know what it is like to be very, very, very poor. So I don't see it as coming from an angry place. So I get to laugh about these things because I don't think being poor is funny, but there's nothing funny about most things in the world. But even when we were poor as a family, we were able to laugh. So that's one thread that I have that goes through life is laughter, and that's the thing that connects most people. So in that conversation, I can laugh about it because it's something I had never thought of. Is why do you work so hard? Because I'm just terrified of being poor. It's just something that, I don't work because I go, oh, I want the money. I just go, no, I want to not be poor. That's what I want.
Rule number 3.
A couple more for Trevor, and then it'll be time to get to your questions, so start thinking. In between the stories, you will have like a page or so of thoughts on different things, and one of those really stayed with me. I could imagine you up in the middle of the night in a dark apartment, and this really was something you wanted to get on the page. And this is what you wrote, just a couple sentences. We spend so much time being afraid of failure, afraid of rejection, but regret is the thing we should fear the most. You will never, never know, and it'll haunt you for the rest of your days.
Yes.
What did that come, like, something was going on when you put that on the page.
No, it's been the theme of my life. And when I put it on the page, it came because that comes from the story of Zahira. That is my one regret in life. The girl that I didn't tell I liked when I was in grade 8 or 9, I was in grade 9, and I didn't tell her. And it sounds like a stupid thing, but there was this girl in my school, and she was just the most beautiful, woman and beautiful person I'd met. I wasn't popular, I had acne, I was this little awkward kid that people teased, and I had comedy to defend myself, but I wasn't. I was just surviving, you know. High school is one of those places where you're just trying to get to the end for some people, and that was me. And yet, Zahira was this oasis where she was, every guy was after her, and yet she was just giving me time as a human being. And I was madly in love with her, like as a person. And I never told her, because I'd been taught, you know, by my school that was not my place. You know, it's the reason I still hate fairy tales till this day. I hate every single fairy tale. Because what do fairy tales tell you? They tell you that only the prince is supposed to get the princess. You know, there's 7 dwarves, not one of them kissed her. Not even one. You're telling me none of them were meant to be with her, and you got to wait for the rich guy to come with his horse and he gets her, and it's a reinforced story over and over again. Your job is that you, as the awkward boy next door, you're going to be her friend, and it's, you know, and I just never said anything because I was afraid of being rejected. And she left the school abruptly during one of our summer holidays, and I found out when we got back to school she had left, and she hadn't just left, she had emigrated to America. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what do you mean? She's emigrated and she was gone. And then her friend, who was the reason I met her here, there was a girl named Johanna who I was best friends with my whole life. And we had just been at the same schools all the time, and she was always popular. And she said to me, oh yeah, I'm so sad she's gone. Are you sad? And I said, I'm very sad. And she said, oh yeah, and it sucked because she really liked you. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, yeah, she had the biggest crush on you, and she always used to talk about...
Waiting on you to ask her out.
And I mean, you can imagine, at that age, when nobody of your peers has ever expressed any type of affection. There was only one woman who loved me, and that was my mom, you know? And here I was hearing this, but she was gone. Mm-hmm. And till this day, that sticks with me. You know, I don't regret anything in my life. Bad decisions, things I shouldn't have done, everything I go has gotten me to this point, including that moment, I guess. But the regret of not knowing, you know, fail if you're gonna fail, succeed if you're gonna succeed, but don't regret. Because if you don't do it and you never know, you don't have an answer. You will always sit with that idea of what if.
Oh,
and that for me is, that's something I've promised myself I'll never allow to happen ever again.
Rule number 4.
I don't think he's got the stuff to take it. We'll see. What is the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I ever received was, everything is helping you. It is one of the most difficult concepts to understand. And it's not the same as everything happens for a reason. It's a difference. There's a difference. But it's everything is helping you. And it doesn't mean everything is helping you in a good way. Everything is helping you get to where you are trying to go. Now, sometimes you are trying to take yourself to a bad place. Sometimes you are trying to self-sabotage. So when I say that, you know, people go, well, but what happened? What about this time with this relationship? No. Everything could be helping to take you down a spiral that will end in your demise. But remember that everything is helping you. You get fired, you get hired, you win, you lose, whatever it is. Everything is helping you to get where you need to go. But you have to really believe and want to go to that place.
Rule number 5.
Yvonne asks, when and how did you know that you wanted to be a comedian?
I don't think I ever knew for certain that I wanted to be a comedian. I've always loved entertaining people. I've always loved making people laugh. You know, in school, I always had jokes. I liked creating jokes as a kid, you know, which was something that I enjoyed. And when I got older, I was always, you know, at a barbecue, at a braai, as we call them in South Africa. I was telling people stories. I loved it, but I didn't know that I wanted to be a comedian. I feel like my friends and family knew that I was supposed to be a comedian before I did, and I'm glad that they did, because the reason I got on stage for the first time was because my cousin told me to. My cousin and my best friend at the time were living in a house together. We went out to a little comedy evening at a restaurant, and you know, thanks to them coaxing me, I got onto the stage. I never would have gotten onto the stage. Again, self-doubt. again, believing that, you know, I wasn't as good or as funny as anything, that I just didn't believe in myself, you know, and I'm glad that they believed in me. And sometimes that's what you need in life, is people who believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And so I got onto the stage, and I've never felt more at home. And I didn't get paid for a long time, and I was like, this is fun though. You know, comedy was and still is my hobby. And, you know, I feel like that's what most people should try and do, is live in a space where you are doing what you love. And it's hard.
Rule number 6.
You know, I think it was Woody Allen who said 80% of success is just turning up. And that's really what it is. It's just do it. Just get out there and do it. You know, enjoy yourself. And so, you know, I will go into the world of film and I'll see what happens. You know, I've done everything otherwise. You know, I've been a radio DJ. I've been a physical, like a club DJ, you know, mixing on vinyls. I've done stand-up comedy. I've hosted television shows. I'm hosting a show. I feel like I'm doing everything, and everything links back to entertainment. So I will explore every opportunity that lies within that. In terms of ambition though, that is not necessarily my ambition.
Rule number 7.
I don't ever think you should focus nor allow people to tell you how fast or slow you should move in life. Because if you wait for people to tell you when it's your turn, you will never get it.
Rule number 8.
Do it. I remember when I took over the show, I was still touring around the United States, and I met so many people who said the same phrase to me. They said, well, you know, I'm not really political. Yeah, I don't really get into politics. I don't pay attention to politics. And now everyone is into politics. Everyone is paying attention. Hard work cannot be separated from success. And when I say success, I mean sustained success. You can have a blip or a moment. That for me doesn't define success.
Rule number 9.
Hard work and success, sustained, go hand in hand. What I feel happens a lot of the time is, as people, we work hard at the thing that we're not good at. And I think that is sometimes an energy that gets lost. I've always worked in a space where I enjoy what I'm doing, and I work hard on what I love doing and what I'm good at. And so I'd rather focus on that. And that way, most days don't feel like work, most challenges don't feel like obstacles, and most successes feel in many ways like a reward for doing what I believed I was meant to do. So I don't take any days for granted. I will catch myself if there is ever a moment where I feel the need to complain about what is definitely a first world problem. All of this is a blessing. All of this is something I couldn't have imagined, and all of this is far more than I ever thought that as a human being I would ever receive. And so now I have, and it overflows to my family and to my community and to people around me. So I definitely don't take that for granted.
Rule number 10.
That's really good. Your mama raised a really good son. It's really good.
Thank you.
So, were you surprised when they said, we want you now to step in and do it?
I was surprised, because in my world, I had no chance, but I come from a world where there was no chance. So every chance I've taken is the one that's impossible. I always say to people, why do the possible thing? It's boring if you succeed. Yeah. Like, do the impossible thing, because if you don't get it right, people are like, you weren't going to get it right, and if you do, you did the impossible. And so for me, it was like, yeah, I'll throw my name in, and if I don't get the Daily Show, I was never meant to get the Daily Show. But if I get it, this is something that I would have never dreamed of doing. And so they called me. I was doing shows in Dubai, and I got a phone call, and they said, hey, we've looked through everyone, we've gone through all our decisions. Would you like to be the host of the Daily Show? And if I wasn't sitting down, I would have fallen over. I would have fainted. It was mind-blowing. And I couldn't get alcohol because I was in Dubai. Like, I was just like, I'm so happy. And, you know, it was everything. It really was.
Yeah.
Somewhere, somehow, someone saw something. So much for science, so soon for sorry and sorrow. You will strangely understand it, sometime and someday. For some, know that this is Prince Mo Africa, your boy, an amiable agathist, advice artist for affluence of affiliation and affinity. Thank you so much guys for watching this video. If you like it, I've got a feeling that you will like many others. So please subscribe on my YouTube channel, Prince Mo Africa, and also like my Facebook page, Prince Mo Africa as well. Most importantly, please share this video. And lastly, just comment and tell me what you think about the video.